This was not a good period in your life.
You know about this.
Nothing good happens in Colombia.
No, nothing good does happen in Colombia.
No, I do know a little bit about your troubles. And that was a rough period for you. Explain why and why Colombia.
Well, originally I went to Colombia because when I joined the SEAL teams, I had always wanted to go to Team 4 because I wanted to do the counter-drug ops. Well, then, 9/11 kicked off, obviously, and that wasn't a focus at all. And so when I was in the agency, I'd broken up with a girlfriend, and so I decided I wanted to travel, and I was just infatuated. I mean, those were all the documentaries I was watching when I went to the recruiter. That was the only thing going on at the time was Panama and kind of the counter-drug situation down in South America, which a lot of that was in Colombia.
Since documented in shows like Narcos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I decided I wanted to go check it out down there. And so I
mean, that's crazy talk. Just like as a pin in this, that's crazy talk. Nobody looks at a show like Narcos or Panama and says, yes, I want to go there. That's all normal people are like, thank God that's down there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was for a number, I wanted to see, I wanted to be in a jungle environment. And so I went to check it out, had a great time. And so I just kept going back, all the way past my time at the agency. But then it turned into, we had just kind of spoken about addiction to adrenaline. And so I was going down there doing a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be doing, cocaine. And then once I left the agency, I kind of started building a network down there. And it was exciting to me. I was in overseas, building my own network, kind of felt like I was kind of running my own operations.
What kind of operations?
Drug networks. And so I wanted to see how deep into the kind of narcos network I could get myself.
But this was not for crime fighting.
No, this was
for crime committing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started at street level and built a network out and went to clubs and met people and found my guys and started testing cocaine and finding the best stuff and I found it. And that lasted for a couple years, and I would just bounce. I mean, it was really, I got a lot of satisfaction out of the adrenaline and just seeing how much I could embed myself into these different cultures. And so then I started flying all over South America. I started going to Peru and starting to build network there, and Dominican Republic and Panama, all over Colombia, all over the country, and Costa Rica. And then I started looking up the most dangerous places you could go in the world. And at the time it was San Pedro Sula, Honduras. So I went there and started, I didn't get very far there, but that was my life for several years.
Wow. And the product was cocaine, and you would find what, like, would be dealers, people to distribute it?
I would find dealers,
make it.
And then I would find their dealers, and then I would find where their dealers get their stuff, and I got to a pretty high level.
It's a miracle you weren't killed.
It is a miracle. It was, this is what I do for a living, though, and so.
That's true. You had some pretty superior training.
I was pretty good at it and pretty fearless at the time.
So when you're talking to your old Navy SEAL buds or Blackwater buds, and you're down there, and they're saying, "What are you up to?" What were you saying?
I would just tell them.
I've crossed over to the other side.
I wouldn't tell them exactly what I'm doing, but they knew. Everybody kind of knew, it just, I started losing friends. I know the conversations were like, oh yeah, he's down in Colombia and nobody really hears from him anymore. And I would resurface every once in a while. Sometimes guys would come down to see me. They wouldn't last very long. They would head back out immediately. And it got to be very dark. And, I OD'd down there a couple of times. And I remember one time I woke up and it was Mother's Day. And I remember calling my mom, and I was all junked out. And I remember after that conversation, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I knew I needed to pull myself out of that. And it kind of like went right back to the time when, I told you the only reason I made it through Buds was I didn't want to let my parents down. And I sure as hell didn't want my parents to get a notice weeks later that their son had OD'd on cocaine in a penthouse in Colombia. And who knows how long that would take to even get to them. And so it had painted this picture in my head. And I started seeking help, kind of.
It's a big moment.
Yeah.
Before you begin that path to redemption.
Yeah.
What got you there? What made you establish residency in Colombia and go all over these countries, the most dangerous countries on earth, to mess with other people's drug rings? My God, right? It's like playing with plutonium for a living.
Yeah.
And be so reckless with your life and your well-being.
I just didn't value life anymore. I didn't care. I mean, I had expected to die down there. And then when I got close, I realized there's a lot more to life than this. And so I cleaned it up. And truth be told, I mean, that was kind of an awakening, but I wasn't 100% ready to shut it down. Mm-hmm. And then I had built quite the network down there, and I got tipped off that the federal police in Colombia were surveilling me and people that I was with. And so I E&E'd out of the country.
What's E&E'd?
I mean, I abruptly left. Oh. And I did kind of we call them an SDR, but surveillance detection route. And I wanted to see if they were surveilling me, if I was walking around town. And so I got rid of everything, cleaned everything up, and went to an internet cafe, booked myself some tickets to a couple different places, jumped on one, and left the country.
Came back stateside?
Yeah.
Do we extradite to Colombia? Just asking for a friend.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I got out of there and went home to Missouri, talked to my parents. They knew
You told them?
Was really
told them
wrong.
Everything?
Yeah, I don't remember telling them anything. And woke up the next day after telling them with a hangover, and my dad I could just tell by the look on his face that I must have spilled probably just about everything.
What did the look say?
Very concerned and worried.
Can your savings weather an economic storm? Think about what you've put away for the future. Inflation can render cash worthless. Real estate can crash like it did in '08. Economies built on a mountain of debt can fall like a house of cards. There are very few physical assets you can invest in that can stand the test of time. But gold has withstood as a valued form of money. It's why many people are flocking to it now and why Birch Gold is busier than ever. Through a little-known tax loophole, Birch Gold lets you convert a retirement account into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And the best part, it doesn't cost you 1 cent out of pocket. To learn more, text MK to 989898 and claim your free info kit on gold. Again, can your IRA or 401k weather an economic storm? If not, consider looking into Birch Gold. Just text MK to 989898 and explore securing your savings today. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.